the Super Twin race, pulled out of that, running a good strong third there.
Yes, so but no doubt this bike, you know, it will be a good bike. There are, you know, the top 6 bikes here are all very, very strong bikes, and it would be great to see.
Here we go then. Time to get for racing. This is the first Superbike race of Saturday. The North West 200 is about to blast off again. Oh, and they held them. They go out and off we go. Who's it going to be? It looks like Hickman's got a great start, but once again it's that whole shot, Harry.
Dean Harrison
it is,
also.
Of course, the man out front, the 74. We've got the 810 team leading this off. Davey Todd from Peter Hickman. They are the first two, as we saw on Thursday. Over the hill, down, then they race towards the Millbank Avenue and York Corner braking area. Are they going to get it stopped? That's the question. Difficult with a full tank of fuel. Right out to the curb. Looks like everyone's behaving this week. As far as the Saturday's concerned, Thursday was a little trickier.
Yeah, we did hear, and we got information that maybe the Metzler gets away temperature-wise a little bit better. It looks like that Davey Todd has certainly wrung the neck of that BMW out there. He's pulled out 6.7 bike lengths from his teammate.
Might be an issue to just switch that tyre on early enough, but you're right, Davey Todd has absolutely cleared off up the road like a rocket, flat out from here then, pretty much all the way down to University. Watch for Dean Harrison looking like he's going to drag a big slip through, surely not a pass before station. No, Hickman holds on to it. There's Rutter goes through on point number 4. 7 is Josh Brooks that's just gone through as well. Josh Brooks riding here again. He's been a little bit lowly and a bit out of our sights this week.
Brick, you've got where the wind is coming from. And then if you're at the front, then it's trying to plan it. But your plan, plan A never seems to work because someone else has a plan A as well on you.
Richard's plan is always just to get away, isn't it? If you can break that toe, then that's what he wants.
Put his hand in the air, so Michael Dunlop looks like he's out of this. Yes, he is. Michael Dunlop will pull.
Oh, hang on, something going on.
Oh, hang on, red flag maybe. Maybe a red flag. We've not got it on our monitor as a red flag. It is a red flag, but it hasn't come up on our... Yeah, there it is, thank you. Well, there you go. Michael was the first to have spotted that and pulled out of it very well indeed. We have a red flag then for the Supersport race. We are only 2 laps completed. They were on their 3rd lap. There's Stuart Hickey to the left with their glasses on. Michael Dunlop obviously realised what was going on very early. I tell you what, he spotted that really quick. While everyone else took a couple more corners. It didn't even come up on our monitor here at the time. Normally it comes up first on our commentary monitor as a red flag. Still very windy, it's still right in your face, coming down from Coleraine, coming right at you. Headwind coming from Coleraine, as Michael Dunlop walks back up to his pit garage, pit tent, whatever you want to call it.
Considerably slower today just because of that wind, 2 seconds down. That's what makes that time in the Superbike race that Michael Dunlop did, just 1 second off the lap record, because I think it's probably 2 seconds down.
Well, we don't know the reason for the red flag, but there's been an incident somewhere on this near 9-mile course. We will be a restart because we've only done 2 complete laps.
The order at that point was Todd, Harrison, Cooper, Dunlop, Hickman.
Hickman being the fastest man out there at 116.8.
Actually, I think they're just the leaders have completed 3. That was the time after 2, so the leaders have actually just gone through 3. Yeah, but you have to go back because a lot of the people behind wouldn't have gone through.
It used to be the last sector that everyone had gone through that you went back to. So because this is a 9-mile course, if you had to go back every time, you would never get everybody past the flag. So it may be the last sector as well. I'd have to look in the rule book, something I'm not good at.
No, I think you're right, but I suspect it will be a restart at 4 laps, I'm guessing.
Anybody else? McWilliams was in 12th place at the time. Keeping an eye on Sweeney, strange as well, down in 16th place for him. So there were a lot of people that were lower down than you might have expected. McWilliams is on the Booth Amos bike, which basically dad and brother Booth Amos did like a high mileage journey to retrieve that motorcycle from somebody's lounge or from somebody's garage, that it was just a bike that wasn't being used, and got it across to Northern Ireland, and they've been prepping it ever since. They've all been working quite hard, but I've got to say, to see Booth Amos with dirty hands and using spanners, Jenny, I mean, you're used to that, but I'm not sure he is.
Yeah, he doesn't mind getting stuck in, does he? Even though he's top, well, he's on par for World Championship success this year. You know, for him to get his hands dirty.
He's a good kid though, isn't he?
Yeah.
I like that. I think Tom Booth Amos is a good lad.
I've just seen Mitch Rees there. He had an off. I think Paget's had to rebuild the bike overnight, so he's looking well though.
Well, while we're on this delay at the moment and waiting for some news, we're going to look at race 2 from last year for the Super Sports guys. Hope you enjoy it. So, the Ducati. Power tool made Ducati.
Oh, they closed him down. Richard Cooper has closed him down. I bet he wants his teammate to follow him now because they were battling with one another and probably tripping each other over a little bit.
There we go. That R6 is really singing, isn't it? I mean, again, the way they've got the rules lined up here, the bikes are very, very equal. Now it's Todd's turn to get into a slipstream. You watch Todd on the brakes. He's always good on the brakes. Stands it on its nose. Stable. You've got no chance when you're on the outside of a situation like that. Once somebody's cleared, got alongside you, you're done.
Yeah, you can't tip into the corner. Nicely done. Neat and tidy. Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. So, out front, Davy Todd again. Cooper is there. Look at the power of the R6 Yamaha. They really are working well. So the 47 bike gets a drag off the Ducati and again pulls alongside. Will he be able to hang on to that, I wonder? Everything that looks like a straight when you're driving your car on the roads here is a kink on a motorbike doing 185 mile an hour.
And the bumps are quite incredible. Resurfaced a little bit coming through here. One or two of the chicanes, even down at Juniper, it's been resurfaced every year. They make it a little bit better. They shim the manhole covers. They make everything nice and smooth as best as they possibly can. That R6 we're on board with now. I don't even know it's got anyone on it. Little Richard Cooper.
Well, that's an advantage to start with. Power to weight ratio is everything, but once you get into the braking area, Richard Cooper has got to brighten up his act because Davy Todd is a bit special. So, tips it in. Michael Dunlop and Mike Brown are now scrapping for that third place. Has Dunlop got it sorted? No, he hasn't. It's still Mike Brown that has third place at the minute. This race rolling on now. They're beginning to think about where they're going to be able to make a pass. They've weighed each other up over the first couple of laps. Now it's going to be down to working out the strategy. Where is a Ducati faster than a Yamaha? Where is a Yamaha faster than a Ducati? And then throw a Triumph in just for good measure.
Yeah, and then throw in who's going to be the kind of latest breaker because that's a lot of the passing. In fact, most of the passing is either slipstreaming or braking.
Yeah, and you've got to bet that Davy Todd is the man on a mission.
Super Sport race has been red flagged. Riders are down here in their garages just waiting for an update. It's our understanding at the moment that organisers are dealing with 2 incidents on the course. A rider is off at Mill Road roundabout and another rider off at Church Corner. They're being attended to at the moment and let's hope everyone's okay, Lee.
Yeah, obviously it's that's #1 priority that the riders are safe. I've spoke to a few riders and we're not certain, it's not official, but it seems that both riders are up and about and okay. So that's all we want to hear, and hopefully we can get the incident cleared up and get back to more action.
Yeah, and it didn't go halfway. You'd imagine this will be a restart, possibly full 6 laps again.
Yeah, possibly. I'm after what's happened today, I'm not going to dictate as to what the rules are or anything like that. So yeah, I would say it will probably be a full restart. The teams will be getting ready, putting new rear tyres and such in, and refilling the bikes. But yeah, we hope so because that was an absolute ding-dong of a race. So if we could get treated to another 6 laps, then all the better.
It really was, Philip, wasn't it? I mean,
That was going to be a good race, you know, and halfway they were all, 2 laps completed and they were still together there, and everyone would have been working out their strategy and where they're going to slipstream and where they're going to brake, but look, it was cut short. But today I think we've got roads closing until 9 o'clock tonight if need be, and that's my understanding of the rules now. I hope it's right, or the rules are a little bit controversial at the minute. And we have got plenty of time. The sun's out, so there's no reason why we can't run on up to 5 or 6 o'clock to make all the racing possible.
yeah, I mean, obviously, people who are perhaps tuning in to watch the North West 200 for the very first time, Lee, this is Northern Ireland's biggest outdoor sporting event. It's a road race on closed public roads. Unfortunately, accidents and injuries are part and parcel of your sport.
Yeah, they are, and as riders we've all known that for a long time, and team and organising everything, but the big thing is that the teams and the events and the organisers do absolutely everything to make this as safe as possibly can be. So as we've seen from some of the accidents today already, the riders get sorted out really quickly, get taken off to the hospital, and hopefully this is the same. The guys there's a chance both riders will be back in the pit soon, so maybe we'll get a chance to talk to them after, especially with with events running really quickly again, and we can get back on the road.
Now, Lee, I know we said we weren't going to mention this until the very end of the day, but Philip McCallan holds the record for 5 wins at the Northwest 200 at a single event. Michael Dunlop has 3. Do you think his record's under pressure today?
I'm a bit worried in saying this because he has been a little bit off today.
He's been quiet, hasn't he?
He's been quiet, and he's not been his normal jubilant self. So I think he's actually feeling a little bit of the tension. I wouldn't like to talk about him in front of him, but unfortunately we've got no option right now, and you've brought it up. So would he be honest and say he's feeling a bit nervous? I don't think so. He's putting a brave face on for us.
Philip?
Look, I think if anyone gets 3 wins, 4 wins, 5 wins, they deserve it. I know they've had to work for it. I know how hard it was. So, look, if Michael Dunlop gets it, well and good, because I've had that now for 33 years. So I think that's long enough.
Do you know how many minutes you've held it for? No? Hours and minutes?
It was actually, you reminded me earlier, that was 33 years. So I'm not allowed to talk about that. No, look, Michael's riding good at the minute, but look, there's a lot of other riders and they're getting strategies together, they're getting techniques together, and they'll be working out. They're not going to let Michael Dunlop, even though he's strong and he's riding good, his bikes is good, but they're not going to let him get away with it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I think they're going to have to change his name when he gets entered into a room now, because if it goes today, that's going to be one of the credits notched off Philip's name. But no, like he says, anyone that wins 1 race in a day at the Northwest 200 or even 2 is an unbelievable feat. So yeah, to be able to even talk about winning 5 over the period of the 2 days, it's still not as impressive as Philip. Obviously, I'm going to give him that one straight away. But yeah, if he can win another 2 races today, then we're all odds on.
You had a record at the TT as well at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got actually the same number of wins. I've got 4 wins at the TT, and Michael has 4 in a week at the TT as well. Hutchie pipped us both. He's got 5 wins in a week at the TT. But look,
I mean, that was remarkable.
Yeah,
Hutchison,
that was unbelievable.
Was incredible.
And to collect that many road race wins, like Lee says earlier, when you come here, you try to get.
Does that change the strategy for any of these guys? You think?
Really, probably that 6-lap one really was it. The speed these boys are going now, they're good sprints for the whole 6 laps, so it really makes no difference. It's just you're going to have to just intensify it a little bit more and get that right for 4 laps. But look, they're racing. These boys are racing in lots of races, so they'll adjust. And they'll just give it everything for 4 laps, and that's it.
And after a really busy start to the day, perhaps this little rest for some of the riders probably comes at a good time.
Yeah, sometimes, but then in other times you want to keep going. I like to get through the programme and get through it, and then when you sit now and have a rest, you can tend to zone out a little bit and just not stay in the right frame of mind. And then it's also, you're in between periods of you can't really eat anything, so they'll all be taking supplements or a drink, and the more that prolongs throughout the day as well, then the hungrier you get. So there is pros and cons to everything, but luckily right now I don't need to worry about any of that, and I just have to stand here and talk, so it's all good.
Just a sandwich we need soon.
Just a sandwich.
Lee, Philip, thank you very much. Back up the commentary box.
Thank you very much, guys, for keeping us entertained. A lot of points to get through there, I suppose, and one of them being we've had house sandwiches up here.
Yeah, most importantly, we've had a lovely sandwich. Thank you, Libby, for that. Jenny's up here with us, and that's all good. But
So 4-lap race coming up. I mean, that's the bit, we've seen it on Thursday, 4-lap race. What I want to pick up on, Jenny, and since you're the latest racer out of the 3 in the commentary position here, zoning out. It is something that really does get in some riders' heads, doesn't it? That relaxation in the middle of the day, some riders don't cope well with that.
Yeah, like Lee said, you kind of want to stay in the zone and just get through the programme, like he said. But I mean, these are all road races, aren't they? They're kind of used to it at TT as well, where there's delays even with the weather and other issues, so they kind of get used to kind of being able to zone out and relax a bit, but then get themselves back into the zone as soon as they need to.
Steve, I mean, you were a very organised man throughout your racing career, I seem to remember it. Personally, I hated these kind of delays. I don't like that kind of situation. But what about you?
well, no, for a start, you've got to go through the trepidation factor and the worrying factor of starting the race again. Like you say, once the visor goes down, the lights go out, you're away and you don't think about any of that. But there is that other second element of going back out there and having to sort of do it all again.
A beautiful day here, of course, but we're going to have a look now at Dean Harrison's Supersport lap, just to keep you entertained and keep you up to speed while we wait for this incident to be cleared.
Northwest 200, 2023 start line, just before the lights go out. You get a little engage gearboard, and you've got to be really careful off the start, to be honest, because the bike's geared to go so fast. You've got to slip the clutch a bit to get it off the line, and you want to be careful not to fry the clutch, because I'm not going to lie, I have done it before, and I broke down in the race, so you have to be careful. So, eyes on the lights, and away we go. There we go, what a bad little jump that. Now it's head down now, and just, I'll see one of the best of starts, got a few coming past. And now it's into turn 1, although I stay on the right, and then just stay on this all the way around here.
This is BBC Northern Ireland.
You've got to think diesel and stuff spills out of vans and trucks all the way around. Big corners, I don't actually know what that right little kink's called to get out of the roundabout, but you've got to get such a good run out of there, because I feel like I lose a bit of time out there. Just like then I lost a bit of time on Michael all the way down to Mathers Cross Chicane. This is so bumpy into it, honestly. You can just see the bike starting to move around. Again, there's 3-2-1 boards here that I use as a reference point always to the braking zone, and just get your eyes settled, because it's so difficult to run straight on here to get the thing stopped anyway. Backed out first, short shift second on the way out, and again, try and get everything tucked in again now, and the run down to Macroboy Chicane. Get shot to death again with a few stones down here with all the bikes in the front.
BBC Northern Ireland.
It is, and the weather today looks absolutely beautiful. Hopefully it's like this. Hopefully it's like this year. This is another difficult one. This is the fast chicane here. Backed out of second gear for this one. And you've got to try and get yourself in slowly and out fast, and then get the run down to Metropole and just get tucked in. You see the Ducati in front of us here. See the stone, then it'll come up on the camera. Big crowds all the way down here, which is great to see. Everyone's enjoying a good day's racing, everyone hooting down the road. And this is the real start of the technical section. The first part of the track we've just done is a very, not say it's not technical, but it's not as technical as a bit coming up. In a Metropole now, so you'll go with a bit of an undulation, see the bike drop in here. And the run now all the way, I'd say it's really to Mill Road roundabout all the way back through past Sound Finish. It's really technical. It's under all the coast road section up through Church here, up under the train lines. And you've got to be careful of the cambers, bumps, manhole covers, and the bike's just moving around so much, and you've got to be really careful of where you are on the track. Black
BBC
Hill is
Northern
very
Ireland.
dodgy, I find, because the road drops away on the exit here, and it's so difficult on the top, and it just feels slippy. It feels like you don't have the grip available that you need. Run down now, this is probably where I need to improve, because this is where all the overtakes done on the last lap to take the win here. 3-2-1 board into Juniper Hill Chicane. They're back out of first gear here, change your tarmac again, you feel the bike move round when you hit a bit of loose gravel. Up to second through the flip-flop, and the run up now up to the last crest. I'm not quite sure what you call this crest here. I should have done a bit of research. I forgot what you call this here. But this is a total blind off camber downhill left-hand corner. At the approach
BBC
that,
Northern Ireland.
See the apex. Over the start line now to start a flying lap, and we've got this little extra chicaning. Backed out first, right, left, and then it's a run out up to fourth gear. Ballet Sally roundabout, I think you call it, or the Magic roundabout. It's got a few names over the times. Just sort of try to pick us up try to get as close to the front as we can here.
BBC Northern
You don't
Ireland.
realise actually, it's the first time, I can't remember last time I watched an on-board lap to the North West, to be honest, and you don't realise how long the straights are and how much slipstream is and how important it is to have a fast motorbike here. And then there goes the Ducati again of Alistair. I still can't believe how bumpy the road, you just see the back wheels skipping off the ground, the Ducati there on the left. Back down first gear again, in, out. They actually opened that chicane up a bit. When they first did it, it was a little bit tight, so they opened it up a little bit to make life a little bit easier. See how well the Ducati goes, so you can get the slipstream on it. Here we go, he's pulling us in now. We haven't quite got the power to get past, we've got to pull back in the slipstream. The 600's so much easier to ride round here than the big bike. The 600's a little bit of fun. I'm so looking forward to going back this year on the 600. Great fun. That's second gear again. Macroboy. Try and get the good one out. You've got to be so careful at Macroboy as well. The little curb on the right can very easily catch you out, because as you tip to the left, it makes the right become blind. And so many people run over the curb and things like that on the exit. Big overtaking place into here, especially on the last laps. It's sort of setting yourself up for the coast road. But all the way down first, you can use second here, but I wasn't going to first, short shift second. But you'll do the turning and you'll see the bike going negative camber, it wants to pull you into the right a little bit. Same here, cross cambers again. Knee over the, I always run my knee over the little ballards on the right and the metal ballard, you feel the bang as you go over them. Manhole over there, just on the left, stern set at the inside of it. And then
if friendships, but like me and Dean Horrison are really good friends, but believe me, when we're sitting in the motorhome after I beat him, it is a lot easier giving the abuse and vice versa. So that's the way life is. But if you understand the amount of effort and time and energy that all these riders put into riding this motorbike, the last thing they're going to do is try and work together to help somebody else or beat somebody else, possibly in a slipstream, but that is unbeknown because the guy in front has no idea who it is in a slipstream, so you can't really do anything like that, even though it looks like that sometimes on the TV. It's definitely not happening, and I think all of the top 5 or 6 are going to be aiming to try and win this race.
They do, and the 5, the top 5 bike are definitely capable of winning.
Yeah, that's a fact, and I think even within that, the slipstream in the start of the race, it looked really equal, which is good. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see one bike dominating the race and not making it an equal battle for all the guys. But one guy that knows something about dominating has just stepped into the winner's enclosure, Philip.
Yeah, Glenn Irwin, who won 11 Superbike races in a row, of course, before this year. I'd just like your opinion on the Superbike race today. What did you reckon?
You know, the only way to summarise it is you could fight the corner of both guys. You know, I thought the rule was, you know, if you go through a chicane that you must stop and put your foot down. I think there's maybe a final wording in there that you cannot gain time. You know, Michael didn't gain time on Davy. Now he did on Pete, who also obviously went through. So it's when you have a ride like what Michael Dunlop did there, coming from so far behind, we never even thought he would get to the front of that race. He deserves a reward, and the race victory would be the most fitting reward. On the other hand, when you're Davy Todd and you know you've been beat, say, by a rider who hasn't maybe done what you believe in the rule, stop, put your foot down. But it's that wording in the rule book that does state there is an addition that you, whether you gain time, you will be penalised. And Michael Dunlop did not gain time to Davy Todd, and as harsh as that is on Davy, and it's harsh on Michael too. I don't think Michael wanted to win in this way, because we are really seeing how strong he is this weekend, and you get this kind of sour taste. But let's move on from it, because we have a lot of racing left, and that 600 race was looking to be a cracker, and it's the next one's the rerun's going to be great.
Yeah, set the controversy aside. What a fantastic ride by Michael Dunlop. I mean, as somebody who's dominated this class, you must have been very impressed.
Very, very impressed, Stephen, and I really wanted to, you know, go and shake his hand and to tell him how impressed I was. He says, "Oh, it'll be good if you're right there, we'll be banging bars." You know, that's you know, a Michael Dunlop riding like that is a Michael Dunlop that you want to race against, because you want to race against the best road racers in the world, but also that you don't want to race against, because he can be. We've seen it at the TT where he's turned up and there's been so much adversity, and they all write him off. Lee knows, because Lee's raced against him and he just pulls the cat out of the bag. So very impressed. He was wounded on Thursday, and I think it was the worst thing for all his opposition that could have happened.
Yeah, totally agree with what Glenn's saying there. Would have been nice if he had thrown a bit of controversy in and went to one side or the other, but yeah.
What side were you on?
I totally agreed with Stephen Watson. We're here just to back him up, as Phillips reassured me. But yeah, it is upsetting in the sense that Michael had the outright pace to win the race anyway, so it's a shame that this is going to tarnish the result from outside opinions. And like we said, I was stood in the winner's enclosure, and they were arguing black was blue and blue was black, because both sides fully believed in what they were trying to explain. And
it won't tarnish the result in his garage. That's
the thing. Yeah, so obviously with the Pete and Davy situation, they will see it as an 810 bike should have won the race, but in Michael's situation, he sees it that he has won the race, and he was punished enough by going through the chicane and having to slow down. So there is, what Glenn said, there is a 6 and 2 3s, and it's always going to be of the opinion. But we heard the crowd cheering, and I don't think there's one person sitting in this grandstand that was voting for anyone in the 10 racing team, and that's not a Northern Ireland thing. I think they just were really happy to see Michael Dunlop win a race again.
But when you asked what he did, he basically did an Arsene Wenger and said he didn't see anything.
Clever. Yeah, like Lee said, the grandstander up that Michael came from a a long, long, long way back. I don't think any of us ever expected to see a first lap like that. No way you could have predicted it. But the good thing is, we're talking about this now, this controversy, this soreness from the result or whatever people want to have, the opinion on it. But later on, this won't be spoke about, because we are going to have the Northwest 200 Superbike race. It has the big prize money. It's the one all the riders want to win. Trust me. Lee and I and Philip, you will agree we want to win the big money race.
Yeah, that's the one. And I was just saying about saving a little bit of energy. What really you've got to do, you've had 2 and 3 races here. I've had 5 in a day, 6 in a day. Over the 3 days now, Thursday, Friday, obviously off, and Saturday, you need to save some energy. You need, if you're going to win that last Superbike race, you need to be a super fit guy, and you need to conserve a little bit of energy for that last lap.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think nowadays you look at this grid, like I look over Lee's shoulder, I see Dean Harrison, the guy's an incredibly fit, rider. Richard Cooper, Davy Todd, Michael Dunlop, they're all fully professional athletes. Saying that, the schedule is more mentally tiring, I think, here, and oddly, these delays we're experiencing now will probably play into the hands of the riders, but they are getting that little bit more added rest. But the challenge here isn't so much physically, it's mentally, Lee, that's probably where the mistakes are made.
Yeah, and obviously, like we spoke about earlier, me and Stephen were stood outside the garages, and I like to, when I was doing 5 races in a day, rattle through the races, as we would say, or try and get them out of the way and keep in that same zone. But when these delays come, then that's where the fatigue sets in, and then you get time to think about things, and all them other mental challenges come to the fore because you're actually having time to sit. But when the races are coming one race after the other, then you're in the zone and you keep moving forward.
The event director Mervyn White is with us. There will be a 15-minute delay until the restart of the Super Sport race. Mervyn, just give us your thoughts on the way things have panned out today so far.
Yeah, I suppose we've had a few incidents in the various classes today which we've had to deal with. We're now in a position where we have had a medical issue with the spectator at Black Hill, which we're dealing with at the present time. The ambulance is now
It's Mervyn White.
Itself, so hopefully in another 5 or 10 minutes time we'll be ready to go with the Super Sport race.
And 2 incidents in that last race to deal with as well, which doesn't make things easy.
Yeah, 2 incidents which we have dealt with. The good thing about it is that both riders are okay. They've taken them off to Coleraine Hospital for observation. So listen, hopefully we get this ambulance off the circuit and we're ready to go.
Yeah, it's people have to remember it's difficult to deal with everything going on the track, never mind what you have to deal with off the track, and we obviously hope the medical emergency with the spectator is okay as well.
Yeah, very much so. As I keep saying to people, this is not a football match. This doesn't just 45 minutes and you have half time and you go for another 45. Motorbike racing is completely different, where you get different issues and stoppages and problems and issues, and you deal with them and you just move along at the end of the day, and that's basically where we are.
Yeah, this is not a football stadium. This is better, Mervyn, isn't it?
Yeah, the crowds around the course are unbelievable. I mean, to be fair, I thought the crowds last year were massive crowds itself, but there's even more and more people this year, and they're in different locations compared to what I have ever seen them in the past. The crowds down at York Corner are they're massive down there. The crowds on the Coast Road itself, a lot of people are now coming out onto the road and moving sort of around the Coast Road itself, so massive amount of people just moving from one area to the other. So listen, it bodes well for the event.
Yeah, grandstand's full, and the grandstand at York Corner this year, known as the Joey Dunlop grandstand, the event is celebrating 25 years since his passing. Important for you to do that this year?
Yeah, very, very important at the end of the day. It's the celebration of Joey's life. And we did a number of things. We did the likes of the scrutineer stickers. We did the flags down at York Grandstand, and we named it after Joey himself. And we did a couple of flags here on the podium as well. So all in celebration of Joey's life. And we also then had the VE celebrations yesterday afternoon to commemorate the 80th anniversary of that. So yes, it's all part and parcel of the event.
And of course, we had a bit of controversy in the Superbike race. As far as you're concerned, those are provisional results pending a stewards' inquiry.
Results are always provisional. The results will be, the footage will be looked at afterwards, and if there's a change required, then the change will be made. The stewards are currently reviewing the situation at the present time, and if it has to be changed, it has to be changed. But bearing in mind that always provisional results until they're given approval by the stewards of the meeting.
Mervyn, thank you very much indeed. We know you're busy. We'll let you go. Thank you, Glenn. We were talking about Joey Dunlop, and you and Philip are going to be at the event on the 24th of May in Joey's hometown in Ballymoney, when riders like you, Jonathan Ray, World Superbike champion 6 times, Carl Fogarty, famous road racers, Bruce Anthony, Ryan Farquhar, you're all going to be riding Joey Dunlop's original bikes in celebration of the great man.
You know, Stephen, when you text me on behalf of Linda and the family, it was nearly a little bit overwhelming. A real honour and a real privilege to first of all be asked to attend this, credit to Joey, to honour his legacy, but to go and to be able to ride one of his machines around the town is that's a real dream come true to me. You know, Joey put this wee country on the map. You know, as much as Philip did his bit to help out as well, but when there's only one man, when you travel to the far side of the world, you can be on a little island in Asia and people ask what you do, and you try to describe motorbikes and they don't really know British superbikes, but you go like the North West, the Element, Joey Dunlop, Joey Dunlop, and that is an absolute measure of the person, and Lee and Phil, probably the same for you.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've said, even when you go over and race in Macau and then spend some time in Thailand or anything, no matter where you speak about road racing in the world, even be the North West or especially the Isle of Man TT, and obviously Philip was lucky enough unlucky enough to maybe have to race again in one or the other, so it's he knows far more than us as just fans.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way, and he put this country on the map with his multiple world champions, and he was an icon. He was respected no matter where that man went in the world. He was respected, but he was also so hard to beat as a racer. He was a tough racer as well. That's why he's world champion.
Question before this race gets underway. What was it like to race against Joey Dunlop? Summarise it quite fast if you can. How would you summarise racing against Joey Dunlop?
Like, probably when he wanted to win, you could have 5 races in a day against Joey, and he wanted to win one of them. And you know what? He usually won the one he wanted to win. He was he was smooth, he was fast, and he was good.
I remember beating David Jeffries at the 1999 Ulster Grand Prix. It was absolutely incredible. It's one of the best sporting performances I think I've ever seen. Glenn, Philip Lee, thank you very much. Obviously the warm-up lap is about to start. Back to the commentary box.
Thank you very much. Very, very entertaining. There's nothing we like more than to see Irishmen talking about a controversy, a conspiracy, and their thoughts and memories of a man like Joey Dunlop. Everything to do with it today. Great conversation. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. And you rejoin us up here in the commentary position, overlooking the starting grid, where everybody is now trying to come back up to speed in their minds and physically, of course. Alongside me, Jenny Timoth and Steve Parrish. My name's Keith Ewan. You've only just joined us. Welcome. And you've actually not missed much in the way of racing.
No,
because we got 4 laps of Supersport to start again.
I think all the guys down in the paddock there have been across to Express Coffee to grab one while they were waiting, sitting and basking in the sun. At least it is nice weather here. On occasions we've had delays and everyone's cowering under the tents trying to keep dry. 4 laps as opposed to 6 right now, and I think I'd agree with those guys. After 4 laps we've seen who's the fastest. It was just a matter of less time to plan what they're going to do on the last lap. And I do believe, like they mentioned down there, it's 4 or 5, 6 guys are all going to be going for it. I don't think anyone's going to get away.
My only question is, of course, they come in with an allocation of tyres. That's a personal allocation more than anything else. They're free to use as many tyres as they want at this event. Jenny, what do you think as far as tyres are concerned? If you had one, you'd fit a new one.
Yeah, you've definitely got there with a new tyre, wouldn't you? So it's more of a concern, I guess, for the more of the privateers, whether they've got another tyre to run or whether they'll be going out on another tyre.
So this is then the warm-up stroke sighting lap. It'll be where they can have a look at whatever that incident was, wherever it was, as to whether it's tidied up. Church Corner, apparently we had a fire there. We saw the fire engine leave a moment ago. You might have heard them going down the front straight here behind the boys when they were having a conversation. But it's all clear now, and this will be their opportunity to take a look at it as they come round.
Looked like David Todd got a new front tyre on actually. He was obviously got some issues when he came in, not for the first one. Didn't seem to show when he started, but clearly he didn't feel that was working quite right, and I'm sure he was one of the few that set off with a new front and a new rear.
Is it me that, oh maybe not, I was just considering that the wind seems to have just subsided very slightly. We've got a headwind coming into the face of the riders down towards Coleraine. We can go down to Stephen Watson, who's got the Deputy First Minister with him.
indeed. I'm with Emma Little-Pengelly, who is here watching the event today. What have you made of this so far?
Well, look, absolutely fabulous. Look at this weather. So many thousands of people out here enjoying the Northwest 200. Second year in a row that we've had the sunshine on a Saturday. Absolutely fantastic racing. And it's a real demonstration of the fantastic nature of this sport. This is being broadcast to so many countries, so many millions of people watching this, looking at Northern Ireland, seeing the very best of our beautiful North Coast here and what we have to offer.
How important is this event to the sporting landscape in Northern Ireland?
Well, it's hugely important. Road racing is such a key part of our Northern Ireland sporting heritage and indeed our sporting future. So it's really important that we show road racing that support, and of course the Northwest 200 being a real gem in the crown of road racing. And as I said, look, it shows off our North Coast, it shows off the sport, it shows off Northern Ireland, but of course a huge amount of enjoyment by the riders and of course the supporters as well.
It takes a lot of money to put this on. It needs a lot of investment. Sometimes bike fans look around the corner at Royal Portrush and think there's multi-million pounds going round there. Is there anything you can do to guarantee the continued investment for this sport?
Look, absolutely. Last year I spoke to the folks here in the Northwest. I understood completely the pressures that they're under financially. We really want this to continue and to continue to be such a huge success. So I'm really glad that working with the Communities Minister Gordon Lyons, we were able to secure some additional funding this year for some of the safety stuff that you can see here right along the course. Really important. But of course there's more to be done, and we will be looking to working with the guys here and indeed road racing throughout Northern Ireland to ensure that we can give them that support, not just as a one-off, but year on year, looking to see how we can make sure that we can ensure that these events continue to be such a huge success.
And not just this one, that's the flagship event. There are other national road races that are, to be honest, struggling at the moment.
Look, absolutely. We've been working with a number of those, really trying to show them that support. I would love to get that Ulster Grand Prix back as well. So we're working with the guys there. So look, there's a lot of work to be done. This is a sport that requires that support. It hasn't necessarily got the support that it deserves over the years, and I think that's something that we do need to address.
Do you think there is investment there to bring the Ulster Grand Prix back? It's such a loved event by motorcycle fans and so important to the heritage of the sport in this country.
Look, absolutely. The Ulster Grand Prix is almost as old as Northern Ireland itself. It's one of the many races that contribute to building up that picture of road racing here in Northern Ireland. So yes, I've been working with Gordon Lyons trying to look at how we can do that. Number of things that we need to do. But it is about that overall support, promoting this sport, trying to support this sport as well in whatever way that we can. So it's really important. We're really proud of road racing in Northern Ireland. It's something that we are known for the world over. It has the most passionate, best fans as well. So of course we need to be doing that support.
Have you ever ridden a bike?
I have. I haven't. I've been on the back of a bike with somebody, and that has been quite a pedestrian speed, and it was still rather scary. So when I look at these guys around this track, I can only imagine what they're going through. But it's incredible what they do. It really is.
You can come back next year. I'm sure we can get you a lap sorted. Deputy First Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fantastic to see authority here and the passion that she genuinely looks like she has.
Yeah, I can't imagine seeing Keir Starmer or someone turn up at Donington Park next weekend.
Well, I mean, Donington Park or any road race or any racing situation in the UK, because he wouldn't want to commit to government money supporting what is considered a private situation over there. This is a completely different kettle of fish, isn't it?
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
to open these roads, to close these roads, to put the infrastructure in here and get the authorities on side, it's a massive achievement that they've managed to do what they did. But it's great to see politicians recognising the value of it and the fact that it is showcasing Northern Ireland.
It probably only really, I mean, I don't know about other countries outside of the UK, but I think it sort of happens with governmental assistance in the Isle of Man, and it does here. But it certainly doesn't in England or Scotland or anywhere. There's not a single penny come into any sort of form of motorsport.
Silverstone got a little bit of help with the roads, the infrastructure that were put in there in the name of
Formula One, really.
Formula One, really, exactly right. Nothing for MotoGP. But at the end of the day, we're grateful for any money that comes, by the way. I'm certainly not knocking back anything that comes our way over on the UK land. But here, the Irish are so passionate about this small region of Ulster that just works so well when it comes to road racing. And the Northwest 200, in the time that we've known it, Steve, it's just grown beyond any expectation or dream.
And we often hear, I know, you're right, a lot of Irish riders say, oh, it's amazing what we developed from sport from from Northern Ireland here, but they get so much assistance from not just that, but I think the passion of the fans and the people behind them.
Agreed, absolutely. The passion of the fans is the thing that does it for me here, and it's building. You've only got to look out across the vistas here and this 9-mile course, and I've never seen so many people here. I know we've had stable weather for the last week, and we're into a very sunny weekend, which has brought everybody out. I have to say, if I was Glenn Irwin, I'd be quite happy to be a spectator this weekend watching it, rather than the pressure of racing in it. At least he can stand there in his shorts, getting a suntan. Scott Redding's here as well. If you've only just joined us, Scott Redding is over. We had Carl Ryan that was with us through the week as well. Tom Booth Amos is even getting his hands dirty, doing some work for Jeremy McWilliams to get McWilliams on the track. There's a lot of big names that have come to take a look at the North West 200 this year. Always good as well to see 4 Irishmen arguing the toss over controversy and conspiracy. I love that. I'm glad we weren't involved in it. Us 3 English people can stand up here, sit up here in the commentary position and listen them battering each other with opinions.
They were all very diplomatic there, weren't they?
Well, they were all pretty good. I thought
There's a lot of sitting on fences, isn't
Yeah, I think
there? But
Stephen
like I say, it isn't up to our opinions, it's up to the stewards. They're the people that are employed to do it, and they'll have to have a vote on what goes on, and there is 2 arguments either side. Whichever way you look at it, there is 2 arguments.
And I think Glenn Irwin put it the best in the he didn't sit on the fence, he told it as it was. There is that major 2 arguments,
but
both are very clear.
You have to,
but it's the reading of the rule at the end of the day, and it depends on where that full stop and that comma is made in those rules. I'd like to see that in front of me here right now, because that makes a difference. It's that close in a decision.
But even reading that rule from Peter Hickman's point of view, he went into that stop box that chicane pretty much right beside Michael Dunlop. He stopped, put his foot down, and it'd be interesting to see what he lost, but it probably would be 4 or 5 seconds.
The fact of the matter is, and you said it earlier on, but mostly in jest because you are that kind of joker, is that if that path is there and there's no penalty for riding down it, let's do it every single lap.
Absolutely.
Because there's a massive amount to be gained. The argument is that Dunlop didn't gain anything over Todd, but he did over Peter Hickman, who stopped in the stop box like he was supposed to. The fact of the matter is it shouldn't be there like that. It should have been blocked off.
Absolutely. The only one exit route should be through those cones into the stop box.
Exactly that. Ian Hutchinson then, he's a resurgent Ian Hutchinson, and on Thursday was absolutely fantastic. Found himself up at the podium. It's been a while. And we have a minute left before we're off on our sighting stroke warm-up lap. Or have we had that? It's been such a long time since I've been sat here waiting for it.
No, we've had
still
that.
got.
Haven't we? But yeah, no, we have, because I said that David Todd got new front tyre on.
You did. He's been off and they've come round. 30 seconds then to the lights out, and then we go racing again. It's all become just a little bit too relaxed with this gap in proceedings. We've had sandwiches, we've had tea, we've had everything you like up here in the commentary position. Sun's still out, wind is in the same direction, which is good because the data won't have changed very much. We've got a headwind heading out towards Coleraine and the University Corner, but everything else is about the same. The only thing that we haven't seen yet is whatever the situation is at Church Corner regarding any chalk dust or the like, cement dust down there for whatever that incident was. We haven't seen it yet. The riders have though, because they have been on that site. So here we go then. The board will be raised and all the riders will be watching the lights. Just for your rider in your picture. Here we go then. Who's it going to be that makes this pass on the brakes? And he went out a little wide doing it, but pulls it back to the apex and thwarts any comeback or undercut from Davey Todd. Church Corner. Looks in good order, so whatever the problems were there earlier on, they've cleaned it up really nicely. Thank you very much to everyone concerned. Meanwhile, we blast up the hill now and out onto the coast road. Dropping down along the coast, and it's the next chicane that is the last chance saloon from any kind of a pass late on in the race. We're on lap 2.
Unlock goes in 3rd, I think.
Just motors by. 3 average lap. Miles an hour. Down to York Hairpin again. Looks a lot bigger when you look at it from the helicopter, but when you actually get there, it's quite a small area and quite a difficult corner.
I think what happens here, the helicopter's high here, and there's a ruling about being over towns and cities and things really high, and then when he gets out in the countryside, he can drop it down.
Maybe it's downhill for the driver.
Pilotti blues. And you get as low as that.
I did hear that there's also a certain ruling that when you're running drones, there's a drone height and a helicopter height now.
Well, there is a drone actually at the York corner there.
So the drones are only allowed so high and the helicopter's only allowed so low. So we have to have that safety separation. There's Hickman through station.
On his way back, he's on it really. Like I say, last time around he was about a second faster than anyone else on the track.
Yeah, well he was.
Dean Harrison and Michael Dunlop.
Richard Cooper, race winner of the second Supersport race of the week.
I'm thinking Richard Cooper's glad he hadn't got an airbag suit on because they'd have gone off.
Yeah, but look, twice the man he is. Getting back to what we were saying, Jen.
Yeah, but
Yeah, Coops being aggressive.
yeah, totally. I mean, he wants to win everything, doesn't he, Cooper? And he prepares like a madman for these races. So when he's in a position to take it, he wanted to take it.
But it's hard, isn't it, to sort of say, I'm going to do anything.
I think at that point, when you know it's pretty much yours, you're like, well, I am definitely having it.
I want to know if you think your teeth would pull that cork out like he does each time.
Mine would, because they're screwed into my jaw.
Oh, right.
Is that okay? Did I answer that succinctly?
Yeah. Thailand, I take it.
No, Northampton actually. So let's take a look at the results, and these are provisional. I'll remind you of that, and that was reminded to us by Mervyn White, MBE, the race director. Cooper is the provisional winner from Dean Harrison and Michael Dunlop. We saw them up on the podium there. David Todd, imagine, he limped home to fourth place in front of his teammate, his main teammate, Peter Hickman. Alistair Seeley, good ride from him on a motorbike that they've been trying to sort out all week. Josh Brooks in seventh place, good ride from him actually coming up. Paul Jordan, Ian Hutchinson, Kevin Keys round out the top 10.
And there you have that. Nathan Harrison 11th, Mario Poncini, Alan Bender, AJ Bender from South Africa, Andrea Majola, Michael Guillen, Jamie Kringle, Ila Kajua, Reese Hardesty and James Chalk. I got the bad page.
No, you got a good page, you just read it wrong. I think you read it wrong. So looking down on pit lane, we've got plenty to come still, haven't we? We've got the super stocks next, and that 6 laps of super stocks, that's going to be hectic. And really, for me, again,
Controversially is the word.
Yeah.
Controversially is
That's the one I want. The fact of the matter is this, because they're all super stock bikes and there's no super bike action until we interfere with it. It's my favourite race because it should be a real scratch on big bikes that are 200 mile an hour plus. Let's take a look then at what we have just seen and witnessed here. It's the second Supersport race of the week. Michael Dunlop, well, we saw what he did on Thursday. Could he do it again today, I wonder? We wondered, and as it happens, the answer was no, but it's not all over yet. They all wanted it fairly badly, and David Todd, having got off the line brilliantly, as usual on the number 1 machine, it was Richard Cooper, the lightweight Richard Cooper, proving that an out-of-date R6 Yamaha is still massively competitive in Supersport racing. The Honda of Dean Harrison was right there all the way.
David Todd dropped off at the end with some ailing machine.
But then it was these three, and in the braking area, having brought themselves together at Metropole, they all nearly came together at the final chicane, but it was Coops who came out on top, having done a fair bit of grass tracking.
And I think we've got a lap with Michael Sweeney on the Superstock machine, which will give us an idea of what it's going to be like out there for these guys very, very shortly.
Yeah, this is, again, 6 laps that we are going to be doing. Michael Sweeney from the Superstock race on Thursday. You can see there the sun's very, very low for the Superstock race.
This was the last race, wasn't
late
it?
in the day on
Hugh here, he's on the MJR machine, the BMW Michael Sweeney that we're riding with at the moment. He's grabbed a couple there, but he's on the outside. Are we going to see someone on the inside of him? No, we're not. We're going right down there. So Conrad there, Connor Cummins from the Isle of Man.
The thing for me is how stable they are at that speed in those lanes.
Yeah, more so than, and we've gone over this before, the superbikes are hybrid machines designed for short, smooth circuits, or relatively, whereas these are showroom bikes, so they actually do absorb, they're more compliant, I guess is the word, for the bumps.
K-Tech suspension nowadays seems to be very popular as well on the roads. Here as a service engineers are in the paddock to look after some of these bikes. As we head now down back towards Port Rush on the triangle, as it's I was going to say blimey, I didn't know whether I could in a broadcast, but I did anyway. Those two coming past after they got a bit of slipstreaming even gave me a jump into the chicane, tight in. So narrow, and then trying to line it up as quick as you can on the way out. Again, 6 laps on a super stock bike. We know now that the superbikes didn't have any adverse situations regarding the Metzler or the Dunlop tyres in the superbike race.
Yeah.
So this should be a straight race without tyre intervention, shall we say?
I agree. Yeah, it just shows how things have moved on. Things have improved all the time, every year. That the tyre manufacturers make a better product. Every year they get to dial in the suspension a little bit better. Helped by a bit of resurfacing, places that would have torn the tyre a little bit more. Still see some dust here. Even this was obviously on Thursday night. It's got cleaner and cleaner, but there's still certain places where there's a bit of dust around.
Spoke to Jason Griffiths at Metzler and asked if there was any particular strategies tyre-wise, whether it would be a pressure situation that they needed to use or adjust pressures and the like, and he wasn't expecting any problems at all. And obviously from what we've seen, the Dunlops similarly are coping very well with this 9-mile course.
This is where the worry was about the sun, and you can clearly see it.
Sun
We had
Black
Steve
Hill.
May to go up there before the race started just to check that the sun was okay. I'm not sure if it
I was going to say, I think he was wrong.
Yeah, I do. He obviously hadn't got his sunglasses on anyway.
Well, he always sees the world through rose-tinted glasses anyway, doesn't he, Plater? Biggest smile in the paddock comes from Steve Plater. He kind of lights up.
The daftest laugh.
Yeah, absolutely, but we love it. So then, coming to the end of this lap with Michael Sweeney in the Superstock race from Thursday night, as the Superstock race today is being prepared down in pit lane. So that's the onboard lap, almost at the checkered flag. A whole lap of onboards, and while Sweeney runs off into the distance from his onboard lap, we can take a look back at that Superstock race from Thursday night. Number 74 of Davey Todd, his teammate, right in with him, Pin Hickman as well, as everybody blasts. Oh, look at this slipstreaming already. I'll tell you what, that was a bit of an advantage there for Todd. How did he manage that? Hutchinson's there on bike 12. He's got himself in the mix. Coward's there on 36, I think that is.
Dunlop sits there in 5th at the moment, yeah, so it's all bunched up here as they head down the bottom, but this could be a crashing race. Very similar speeds to these bikes. Hutchie always looks like he's struggling to shift gear. He broke his leg so badly on the left, he used his right hand gear shift. Number 12.
But to be in front of number 3, Dean Harrison, who's a bit of a favourite for this Superstock race, bearing in mind how quick he was last year on that motorbike here as well. But out front, Davey Todd on the 74 is clearing off. Ian Hutchinson is there. But watch out for Michael Dunlop. Michael Dunlop is hunting him down. He's already had a good race in Supersport. Won't give that away just yet. But the fact of the matter is, the crowd are on their toes here for Michael Dunlop. Dunlop comes through.
Yeah, that bike's been slid down the road today. He's sort of bruised and leathers are torn and everything else. So he's managed to pull himself all together. The team have done a really good job to get the bike patched up.
But he's closing down, your race leader now, all the way. So Michael Dunlop looking to try and make this another win, if he can. Well, I'll tell you what, 2016 was the last time he'd had a great outing here, and now he's right there, he's in front. Oh, and there's a mistake or a problem. Has he not got it down the gearbox?
I think that's, yeah. Hasn't managed to get down through the gears.
But that does Hutchie a massive favour. Ian Hutchinson will be on the podium.
Leg through injury at the
had a stroke
at Silverstone. He's had terrible injuries and a stroke as well. But there, Michael Dunlop. New stable of bikes this year. Everything has changed for him. He's put a lot of it together. He's had a lot of help from BMW. This is a bike that, or his superbike, has been put together with. This is Hutchie coming through, and then
that was Peter Hickman going through with Josh Brooks up behind him. So Peter Hickman is recovering from his chicane melee, where he went straight on at the chicane, and it took him way down the order. But it's Michael Dunlop who takes the checkered flag. A fantastic ride for him. But I've got to say, despite local allegiance being for Michael Dunlop, Ian Hutchinson is my man in third place, and a podium finish for him. Dean Harrison is the meat in that sandwich. Davey Todd, after that misdemeanor at university, goes fourth, with Peter Hickman recovering to fifth in front of Josh Brooks, Connor Cummins, Michael Evans, John McInnes and Paul George.
And we're now going to have a quick look at what the super stock bikes are all about. They're pretty much road vehicles or bikes that have been modified slightly.
We've called into 810 Racing to have a closer look at their super stock machine, as ridden by Peter Hickman and Davey Todd. This is the most cost-effective class here at the North West 100 this week. Looking at his big brother, you're talking at a 100 grand motorcycle. This is a 40 grand motorcycle, and probably only 2 seconds or less in lap time. This bike will still do well over 200 miles an hour. But some of the modifications you are allowed to make are the front forks, your rear shock, bodywork has to be the same silhouette and of fiberglass, not like carbon fiber like its big brother. You aren't allowed to change the brakes, external parts of the forks. It will also run on kit electronics, whereas the superbike runs on Motec. But as we can say, this is definitely going to be the busiest class this week for all of them reasons.
Yeah, I'm delighted I found the current British Superbike champion. Kyle Wright is at the North West 200. How much are you enjoying your experience today?
Lovely. Sun's been out all day, jacket's off, getting a bit of a tan as well. The racing's been great up to yet. So yeah, looking forward to the next 3 races.
What did you make of the last Super Sport race? It was a cracker, wasn't it?
Yeah, very good. I think Richard wanted his revenge from Thursday night. Obviously he got it, he won the race. You've got Dean who was trying to win his first North West 200 race, gave it a massive shot. Fair play for having a go. So there was one was in the gravel, one was across the grass doing a big jump, and Michael come third. I think it was a great race and one that will be watched for a long while.
Yeah, Dean has so many podiums here at the North West, but not a win. I think everybody would love to see him get a victory, wouldn't it?
Yes, I mean, a lot of people, I've stood with a lot of people there, a lot of people want Dean to win. He's riding really good this year, I think he deserves one, and he put everything on the line there to try and make it happen, but just come short. So hopefully he's got 2 more shots this afternoon to get his first win.
When you see them leaving the grid here, how does it make you feel? Obviously, it makes you feel you definitely don't want to do it, but how do you think? What do you think about the racing when you see it?
Yeah, I mean, stood in the pits, all I can see is how nervous everyone is, and just reminds me that I don't want to do it. It's crazy, but like I said many times, take my hat off to him. I'm just glad that the weather's good, a little bit windy, but it's great for racing, and hopefully they all have a good, safe race.
Pick a winner for us.
For the start, I'm Dunlop.
Dunlop.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Kyle Wright. Thanks, Michael Dunlop will win the Super Stock race.
I was thinking Stephen was going to ask him for a game of golf, because I think he'd have got thrashed. I can't believe Kyle Wright plays off of 5. It's fairly impressive for a motorcycle racer. Anyway, it's about to get underway, and I think this could be the best race. Well, it's going to be a cracker because these bikes are so similar. It's not a mixture of super bikes, super stockers, or anything else like that. I think Jenny's in here. I think it'd be a great race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the biggest field as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is. Alice Seeley, we're probably thinking, I hope he has a good ride, really, because he's got his bike fixed up. When it blew up, it was in the wrong race as such. It was in the superbike race. He didn't get to make the super stock race because they hadn't got it repaired. So this is probably his best chance. I thought you were going to bring sandwiches in here, Keith. You should put on empty.
Do you know what? The shortest person on the team is making tea at this moment in time. I brought plates and a knife for your girlfriend's cake that you've been awarded.
Oh, right, okay. Well done.
There you go. You see, I was thinking of you.
No, you weren't. You wanted a bit of my cake.
You've seen me and heard me for too long, Steve Parrish. So, the sighting lap, stroke warm-up lap gets underway. And Super Sport and Super Stock, 2 of my very favourite classes, and made for the roads. You know, I think they're just the best classes. Economical, fast, the right kind of spec. Super Stock in particular, because they're all so similar.
Economical, it always makes me giggle a bit because they do about 17 miles to gallon, don't they, or something like that. When they're, that's what it is in the TT.
At least they're not electric.
Ridiculously thirsty, but they're putting out lots and lots of power. So let's have a look at the grid.
Yeah, let's see who's on pole. It is Davey Todd, of course, from Alistair Seeley. And that's the motorcycle that went pop the other night. So hopefully that one's as competitive as it was. Peter Hickman is completing the front row from Dean Harrison, Michael Dunlop and Jamie Coward, Mike Brown, Paul Jordan and Ian Hutchinson are on row 3.
John McGuinness, Connor Cummings, Josh Brooks, Ernest Costamo, Michael Evans, Michael Sweeney, Sam West, Nathan Harrison and Mitch Reeves.
The newcomer is Mitch Reeves.
Yeah, he had a tumble the other day. Actually, I think
destroyed the bike. Did 25 grand worth of damage.
I don't think Clive Paget was real happy, but you wouldn't be because chucking one of these dead bikes down the road, and I believe it end over ended and took a lot of the corners off of it. So now we're going to switch. Now we've gone from a tall girl to a short bloke. Hi Lee, come on, he's
actually been
this commentary booth. Every time I've got something really clever to say,
he's making the Superbike a pretty strong class for himself as well, and I know the feeling he just wanted that win, and realistically when you look at it, there's nothing going to stop him winning that race.
And even with the performance of the machines here, sometimes can it be mind over matter, and if you really, really want to win something, it gives you that extra edge, you think?
Yes, I know that because I have experienced that before. You know, my bike's been slightly down on speed, and you want to win so bad you can, and you use all your tricks, you use all your experience, you just use everything you have to win that race, and that's what Davey done. You know, he worked it all out. Dean Harrison, he's getting so close. Just one of these times, Dean's going to get that win. You know, and the Honda was definitely the fastest bike out there. You know, it was pulling out in the straight, it was going through, but Davey just dug deep. You know, he just was braking good. He was getting off corners good, and like he won the race.
Yeah, as others grab the headlines like Richard Cooper, Michael Dunlop, Davey Todd, Dean Harrison has had a wonderful Northwest 200.
Probably, I haven't worked it out yet, but if you work it all out, all his second places, like, you know, just keep adding up, and if you put it in the points, he's definitely up there with the best riders this week so far, and maybe, just maybe, it'd be great if he did pick one before the day's out.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Dean Harrison get a victory here. Jenny, give us your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'd love to see Dino on the top step. He's been second place man so often. Like you say, I don't know how many actual podiums he's got under his belt now, but it must be...
I think 14, at least 14.
14,
wow,
yeah. It's cool to see how friendly all the guys are as well. They're all having banter between each other, you know.
They are. It was unlike a couple of the winners and closers today. It was nice and friendly in there, that one.
Yeah, definitely. It's good. I do like the Toddy Peter kind of bossman scenario. It's 2-0 to Toddy.
It certainly is. Time for the podiums. Back to the commentary box.
Thank you guys. So up here in the commentary position, we're waiting for an undisputed podium, which is quite nice, I've got to say, not having to discuss any kind of controversy or conspiracy in the theory department. Great ride from the three men.
At least that mentions chicanes. You guys are the two guys that know what it's like to not have any here.
Yeah, there was a single chicane here when I first came. It literally was. It's known as the 9 Mile Triangle, and it was virtually.
Well, you went down to
University all the way down to Coleraine. Yeah, I didn't mean to. No, I did. It was where the corner breaks himself again.
Yeah, different racetrack altogether. Well, the first year I came here is when they first turned over the link road.
Yeah.
So the podium, great sight. Dean Harrison.
There can't be a fan in Northern Ireland that doesn't want Dean Harrison to win a race.
No, there isn't. Or a former rider, or a team person, I don't think. I mean, everybody wants to see Dean Harrison win a race because he really is. He's a nice guy.
Even his honesty in that interview. Yeah, I was up my limit. That was me. Do you know what I mean? Most of the people that say I had a bit in the locker, but
I think that's really appreciated particularly in this kind of region's sporting circles because people appreciate, gentlemen in that situation.
Like us three.
Yeah, we're honest. Well, I am.
Have you got your fingers crossed?
He's known as Honest Steve. He's got his legs crossed, his fingers crossed.
I'm honest.
Honest, yeah. At least I sleep at night with a clear conscience.
Yeah. It looks
The
really
super
good.
stock
That new
race
brand
is
and stuff on the back.
Davey
It
Todd,
does, doesn't it? digging himself out of that hole again.
I didn't make that hole. It's a national anthem. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but that goes for anybody that's not a royalist as well, of course. There's so many things that you can get yourself into trouble with the national anthems, and
these bottle of champagne are looking a bit fancy.
they are indeed. It's almost looking like a Batham's bottle of champagne. It's, Michael Runner had something to do with
He'd
it.
have emptied and put lemonade in them.
That's for sure. So we have a Super Twins race and then the feature race still to come, the Northwest 200 Superbikes. 6 laps. It's looking a bit special, but the Super Stocks that we've just had, great race. And again, another win for David Todd from Dean Harrison and Peter Hickman. We just saw them spraying the champagne. Alistair Seeley, a good 4th place from Alistair Seeley. He will be disappointed not to get amongst the top 3, but he's there or thereabouts on a motorbike that didn't look like he was going to do another day. Ian Hutchinson, 5th. Paul Jordan in 6th place. Erno Costamo, again, another. He's been very consistent, the Finn. He's been there or thereabouts in the top 10. Brad Clark came up into 8th place. Didn't see him moving on up, so that's a good ride from him. Honor Suzuki, John McGuinness in 9th place, and Michael Evans in 10th.
11th, Michael Sweeney, who we did a lap with before the race. Josh Brooks in 12th. Nathan Harrison. Mitch Rees, a newcomer, brilliant ride from him in 14th. Stephen Degnan. David Johnson.
61 years old, Stephen Degner. In fact, 65 years old.
Wow, older than John McGuinness. And, wow, even older than Jeremy McWilliams. Maurizio Botalica, and I've learned how to say that name now. Laurent Hoffman and Philip Crow from Lincolnshire.
Well, that's how they finished off. Let's have a look at how they did it, shall we? It's been a great Superstock race, and this is what happened. From the line once again, Davey Todd, the fastest starter in the West. No doubt that at all. He really does make it quick off the line. But then it became a 3-way spat. Alistair Seeley getting involved in bike 34. Dean Harrison looking much smoother and without the shuffle down the back straight.
Yeah, the group was quite consistent and big when the guys were doing 422s, but when they dropped down into the 222s, when they dropped down into the 219s, it was just the big 3 left at the end.
Michael Dunlop found himself falling out
right
the
the first time, 4.
And then David Todd just managed to ease himself away in the end, far enough for the rest to not catch him. At the checkered flag, David Todd took the win. So, Super Twins are roaring away down on the front straight here. And look at the flags have closed down quite a bit as well. The flags have gone quite limp in the wind. Meanwhile, let's take a look back, shall we, at a Super Twins lap. This was with Christian Elkin, a man who broke his shoulder just a short while ago on Easter Monday, and he's racing today as well. But let's take a look back with him.
He broke it at Kirkerson.
On board then. Now these motorbikes were supposed to be made for a, should we say, a cheap alternative, but they're not. They are extremely expensive to modify. They are modified pretty much more than anything else.
I tell you what is modified, Christian Elkins'
Rev count.
Yeah,
it's
not working a lot. There's a bit of red tape to say where it should go to, but it's not working, is it? Yeah, obviously these bikes, I don't know if anyone's ever seen a Kawasaki ER6, but it does not look like what it looks like right now.
It's a shopping bike, really, isn't it?
And they don't, honestly, I've rode a few, and in my head, the only 2 reasons you ride a motorbike is because it goes really fast or it handles really well, and believe me, these do neither of them 2 things, so I don't really enjoy them. Although I've won a couple of races on them, it's not the most fun bike to ride. So.
Right. Except if you're an engineer.
Yeah.
Where you can fiddle around with them and make them completely different from what they were.
If you think when its series started, it dominated. There was virtually nothing else on the grid. I think there was the odd SV650 Suzuki, and that was it, wasn't it? But Kawasaki, if you went back at the start of this series, it was all dominated by. I don't think there's any here this week. Jenny might be able to tell us when she pops in, but there's normally patents here, and I think patents now to buy are upwards of £65,000,
which is ridiculous
for a class that should have been cheap racing. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But this is the fun part here, getting the slipstream like this, and you can feel what the rider gets to feel just over that little crest. On a superbike, that is like, the bike is really lively and you're hung onto it, but on these little things, you're literally just sat in, tucked in, relaxing.
there's a pattern's just come past right now, so that's what 65,000 pound does.
There's two patterns out there as it happens, and the best one was Bottalica, who ended up 10th in the first race on a pattern. And then the only other one was Andy Hornby, so yeah, you're right, just two off. But they also, with Kawasaki, they dominated as well with the best buy, but the cost of it is ridiculous.
Yeah, we've seen that. Pretty just come up the inside there, a rather late move from whoever that was. But
here's the old red link road as well, which reminds us of how unsticky it used to be.
Such a good camera this in to get an insight. Is that Michael Sweeney in front? I think it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
that's who Dave bombed up the inside of Christian Elkin rather late.
Christian Elkin with a re-drilled screen, just giving us the impression of the
lowered for speed
of the non-engineering side of things.
Yeah, you've got no little air bubbles or air holes in the screen. I like to have them just to stop your helmet from buffering around a little bit. So when it sits in behind the screen, sometimes because there's no air gets through.
I thought it was so the people in front of you could hear you talking. Well, you don't stop, do you?
Oh, there's a Peter Hickman, Michael did not move on the left-hand side.
Oh, penalty coming.
No foot down there. Can't talk about that though. On the run back, you hear these little bikes, the engine, I don't know how more of them don't blow up in the period of the Northwest 200. And over this crest now, sometimes even on a superbike, that will spin there, so the bike actually throws up into the limiter. And the bike's at 200 odd mile an hour. Hard on the brakes now. Through the chicane. This big bump there in the back wheelies just as you crest that, straight up through the gearbox again.
What's the top end on these, Steve?
About 170, I think, is the best we've ever seen. In fact, it was Richard Cooper did 170 on one of them, which is pretty impressive, isn't it?
It actually is. And more than I was expecting you to say.
That is impressive, isn't it, for something that's not designed. No, I've just had a random message in, and someone has informed me, I don't know if this is true or not, but Max Biaggi also raced in Road Shift. I find that hard to believe at 250 grand.
No, you're right, he did. He was also the odd one that did that, and the odd one that never could understand that, because you could genuinely see Dean struggling out of the Metropole on that left, trying to hook the gear up.
You're on the toe of your foot and
trying to get your foot underneath it.
Right, you want to go down to go up, don't you? A normal shift rather than up to go.
Impressive, that rider in front, I don't know who it is, sorry, but he had the thing on its side and his knee down long before he got to the apex at Black Hill, so really impressive ride. Hard on the brakes now, back into the last chicane. Seen some more interesting moves in here this week so far.
We have, and there's probably more to come as we look into what's going to happen now. Super Twins they've just gone off on their warm-up lap right now. We can hear them getting away. Have to say, out of all the bikes I hear, I'm not a fan of listening to these twins.
That's for sure, but as we complete this lap and come under the completing the 8.9 miles of the Northwest 200 track, let's go down to Stephen Watson in pit lane.
Yeah, so Steve doesn't like the sound listening to them there. You want to try it down here, right on the front row. An update on Jeremy McWilliams, who crashed earlier on at Mill Road Roundabout. He is back out for this race. I spoke to his wife Jill briefly, asked how he was. He said he's a bit sore, bumped and bruised, but happy to take place in this race, which is good to see.
It's superb, Jeremy. Look, he's taken a beating before and came back and won races, so no reason he can't do it again. We're very, very lucky. He's lucky. There's obviously no bones broken, and he's strong and fit enough to do it. So that's absolutely great news. But like this race last time was between Richard Cooper and Adam McLean. Adam McLean, he rode hard. He thought he had it worked out. I think he went a little bit early and he gave all his secrets in the breaking away. Richard Cooper picked up on that and won the race, but it's not going to be easy this time. Those boys are both going to be trying hard, but Jeremy, he made a few mistakes in the last Super Twin race. He reckoned he got his gearing wrong, so if he gets his gearing right and gets dialed in, he could be on the rostrum as well.
Yes, they will all learn from race one, won't they?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the flags, and the headwind looks much the same now. It's really been probably much the same today, so they'll know how to get the gearing right. He just made a mistake. He geared it for slipstreaming, and when there was no slipstreaming, it meant the bike was overgeared and he couldn't pull them back again, so he'll not make that mistake again.
Pick a winner for us.
You know what I'm going to say? I have to back the local man this time. If Adam McLean does not pull it off this time, he'll never pull it off. He knows Richard Cooper, he knows all his tactics, he knows the modifications he needs to make to his bike, the tweaks he needs to make. So I'm going to go with a local man this time. So please, Adam, don't let me down.
It'd be a very popular win. No Jimmy Coward in this race. He was involved in an incident earlier on and was taken to hospital for treatment. So it's time for the Super Twins race. Back to the comedy box.
Thank you very much. Let's take a look at how they'll line up then when they come back from their warm-up lap. Richard Cooper on pole from Adam McLean and Paul Jordan. Kawasaki, Yamaha, Aprilia across the front row.
Richard Cooper. I'm going to say Richard Cooper will take this one.
The second row with Michael Sweeney on the Aprilia. Jamie Coward won't be there, as we've heard. Michael Rutter, Pierre-Yves Vian are row 3.
Row 4, Ajay Ventnor, again from South Africa, a newcomer this year. Neil Kernahan, Darryl Tweed, Barry Ferber, Marty Lennon, Daniel Ingram, Dean McMaster, Chris Duncan and Christian Elkin. Actually, I don't think AJ is a newcomer here, but he's enjoying himself.
Like a newcomer, is what you mean. Christian Elkin, obviously still slightly injured from that plate he's had on his shoulder. Mauro Puccini, Martin Morris, Dara Crean, Jonathan Gorotsky, Paul Williams, Michael Allen, Andy Hornby, Paul Cassidy and Andrew Hurd. Let's go down to pit lane then. Ryan Farquhar, the man of this particular class.
Yes, he certainly is. Ryan obviously running Richard Cooper here in this class. Feeling confident again, Ryan?
We can only do our best. I've done all I can. It's just this, sort of the lap of the gods now, you know, and how Richard performs. You know, he's been unreal the way he's been riding. You know, on Thursday as well. No, Michael beat him in the 600 race, but I think he has proved today, you know, how good a rider he is. So we have done the best we can. So it's just we need a bit of luck now.
And when you look at the wind, look at the weather, have you made any alterations for this one?
Yeah, we've changed the gearing slightly. The first race we didn't change the gearing from Thursday, and you know, he was struggling to pull it, you know, so it's just knowing how much to, you know, to go, and then you go too much, then you can get a slipstream, hit the rev limiter, you know, so look, it is, you know, hopefully when he comes back, he's good to go.
You've had some big moments here as a rider, very enjoyable ones. How does it, you know, equal when you're a team owner?
It's a lot more nervous, you know, being here, like whenever I'm, you know, when I was racing myself, you know, you do get nervous the morning or just before a race, but once you get around the first corner, the nerves go away. But now, whenever you're standing on the side watching, the nerves get worse. You know, as you're just hoping that nothing happens to the bike and there's nothing breaks. And, you know, and it gets the rider, especially if he's running at the front. You know, and get him to the line.
Be nice to do the double.
Oh, it'll be unreal, but you know,
we'll see. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you very much.
Love Ryan Farquhar. His passion for this class is unequalled. I think you're right. What you just chucked a line in there at the end of that read that we did on the grid a moment ago. He invented this class, and everybody has been a bit behind him since then. He could have moved to another manufacturer quite easily, but never did. He stuck with what he's got, stuck with the manufacturer he has been enhancing in this class. But some of the ideas he's came across have really brought him into controversy occasionally. We had a time where it took nearly a year before his performance was, Richard Cooper's performances were verified. And that's how long it takes sometimes when you're in a dispute situation. But Ryan really stuck to his guns and would not roll over. And I admire him for that. He didn't make a lot of friends.
No, there was some controversy here, wasn't there, with him and these fairing brackets and whatever. But I do know that Richard Cooper was reinstated with those wins.
Absolutely, which vindicated Ryan Farquhar as the engineer behind that motorcycle. Steve Plater was on the grid just there. We saw him briefly, which is probably enough for anybody. And we look at Cross at the number 50 machine, Paul Jordan. But the KMR bike is the one to watch. 47. Richard Cooper on pole position again. The man to beat on the Jack Reed Cars Kawasaki.
He's worked out that shortcut.
You're a mischief maker, Parrish. You know that.
Paul Jordan had a technical in the first Super Twin, but hopefully they've rectified that, so fingers crossed he'll be in this.
Oh, good.
Michael Sweeney there. Well, another one that had a technical was our mate Jeremy McWilliams finding himself with a bit of a clattering. I didn't really know that I hadn't seen that anywhere either. So the news of Jeremy throwing himself up the road as an old boy, I mean, that's the trouble with getting older. It takes longer to repair yourself.
And you said Michael Rutter's out, Jenny, did you?
Yeah, apparently his engine has expired, or he has an electrical problem.
Yeah, we've heard of those. AJ Ventnor is the 39 machine that you're looking at there. Number 5 is Marty Lennon. Further back on the grid. So Marty Lennon from Banbridge, also running a Kawasaki. But it is a Kawasaki, a Yamaha and an Aprilia across the front row. Jeremy McWilliams on the JMC Racing Aprilia. It's a good team, put a lot of effort in. And means that their main trade is roofing. Never argue with roofers. They're tougher than everybody. Joey Dunlop 25 sticker on that's used as a scrutineering sticker, but to remind you, the 24th of May this year at Ballymoney from 2 o'clock, Joey Dunlop's bikes, meet the riders, rider interviews, live music, everything you like. Closed roads in Ballymoney to see the bikes around the streets. So 24th of May, Saturday the 24th of May, if you're in the country or you fancy flying in for it, it's a big respect to Joey Dunlop after 25 years. So the minute board has gone off, tyre warmers are coming off, pit attendants are moving to the safety of the path as these guys will blast off.
We just had a cloud, first cloud actually all week, the whole week, but it's still warm and perfect conditions still. The wind is still steadying down just a touch.
They're so loud, these motorbikes. I mean, we are in the commentary position here with all the windows shut, and it rattles everything that's in here. I don't know what the noise limits are on these things, but obviously higher than everywhere else. 47 of Richard Cooper on pole position from the 56 of Adam McLean, from the 50 of Paul George. Peter Hickman, Jeremy McWilliams, Michael Sweeney on row 2. Watch the lights, boys. Here we go then. And this is going to be ear-shattering as we head down towards turn 1. Who's he going to be that makes a hole shot? 47 gets off the line, Richard Cooper. That's a good start from Richard Cooper, a really good start from Richard Cooper. And the main man that's going to take it to him, McLean, is right there in his slipstream. McWilliams comes round the outside on the 99. Does he know he hasn't made it? Flashing down the hill, down Millbank Avenue, Primrose Hill, and then into the braking area at York Corner. Back to bottom gear. This is a real shuffle normally. Somebody looking for the inside line there already. Anybody gone wide? Not really.
4 laps this one, so a shorter race than what we've been seeing here today.
Second wave has just left us alongside us here. We'll be able to hear ourselves think from this moment onwards. In case it's probably not necessary.
I think Paul Jordan has got into third place there.
Your road roundabout. Let's have a look. Paul Jordan. You don't want to lose touch with these two out front already. They've already made a fair jump up the front.
So Paul's on Lee's old bike, which is quite interesting as well. He made some new mods to that, and it should be flying.
When do these bikes not have new mods to them? I think out towards Church Corner. The sun hasn't yet got low enough in the sky to give them too much of an adverse sight of the track in front of them through this section. Later on in the day, a little wheelie there from McLean. Later on in the day, the sun comes down over the coast and it just gets, as you come over Black Hill, just gets in your face. Hopefully we won't be running as late as we did the other night on Thursday, where it was very, very low, but deemed okay by Steve Plater, who went out there to check it out for the organisers to make it right. You're right, Stevie. Richard Cooper's closed in just a little bit on your race leader, just enough to keep him in touch. Keep some fresh air going through the front, so he's got all the horsepower he needs as well. Don't want to get too hot by being jammed up the rear of the bike in front. The trouble is when you tune a motorbike to go faster than it naturally needs to go, or has naturally been designed to go, cooling can be a problem. When you're getting more horsepower out of the package, you need to cool it down just that little bit more as well.
Super Twins lap 3 and 4.
But, Cooper, as Mr. Parrish has already said, is slotted in neatly behind Adam McLean. The 56 machine then out front by 0.8 of a second as they cross the line. These two, well, three if you include Jordan, are well out in front of Michael Sweeney in 4th place. He's a long way behind. If I take a look down the order, McWilliams is still running, I think, is he?
No, he's gone.
No, he's gone. What fooled me was the 38 of Paul Williams. That is from Wales, who is in 15th place at the moment.
Feels like Cooper's building back up now. He was really
Alan
late
McLean,
in
Richard
breaking
Cooper,
through.
Paul Jordan, Michael
You can
Sweeney,
do it
Barry
at will.
Ferber, Aaron Van.
It's almost annoying when you watch it from our perspective, because you know he's sitting there out in the fresh air. No one behind him is causing him a problem, so he hasn't got to watch out for anybody behind him. He's just got to keep his eye on Adam McLean and mug him on the final lap. Although McLean has just put in the fastest lap, 111.135 mile an hour. That's 4 minutes 50.565. So that's not a bad lap from McLean, but Cooper has all but matched it. He's 3/10 off, and he's sitting right in the in the good seats where he is at the moment. There's no trouble from where Richard Cooper is. He can do his own line. He can close up to the back of McLean. Will he make a pass on him? I think he must have got bored in
I don't
second
think
place.
he wants to.
No, I think you're right.
This is pretty much copybook what we saw here, wasn't it, in the first race?
It's whether McLean can outthink what Cooper might try to do on the final
I
lap.
know what you have to do though to outthink someone like Richard Cooper. Even if you,
When you're in front, you run your own lines, but if you do that, you know Cooper's going to be underneath you. I think it's that final chicane where you need to be
the only thing I'm
blocking it
Super
off.
Twins lap 3 of 4. Adam McLean, Richard Cooper, Paul Jordan, Michael Sweeney, Barry Ferber.
Let him through, and then have a go.
I think Cooper's is too sharp for that.
Well, he
He'll
probably
roll out of it in different places. Almost like snooker, where we have a re-rack. Nobody bothers to want to hit the next ball. Coops again, lets it go. It's wider. We're on lap 3 of 4, so only a lap and a quarter to go. From a commentary position, it's like us trying to guess what they're thinking. The way he closes up on the brakes, he's got so much in hand, Richard Cooper, on the brakes, that I just can't see how Adam McLean, without some fantastic last lap tactic, is going to be able to keep Cooper behind him. Jordan isn't close enough